Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 2. And today I'm going to be giving you part 6 of What If Naruto Was Transported to the Justice League World. Remember to get this one to 300 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends in social media platform, and go ahead and check out the new series of What If Naruto and Sasuke was taken by Itachi, and enjoy that guys. And also guys, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King and Anime King 2, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. And yeah, without further ado, what is to begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last spot we left off, as Lobo came on the ship, as he brought the rat to Naruto, but Lobo accidentally killed him on the way here. As Superman and the others wanted to intervene, but after hearing what Wonder Woman had to say, they did not. Well, they couldn't get to the barrier either, as Superman nearly burned his hand off. As they looked at the dead body of the rat, as Superman accidentally disrespected Kurama, saying that why doesn't he just eat it? As Kurama sent him sailing with a tail. And it pissed Naruto off as well because he doesn't like when people talk about Kurama that way. As he went to his room as Wonder Woman excused herself as she made her way. As she heard him talking to someone. As he was talking to his device. Someone was on because he was buying another ship. Yes, he was going to leave soon. But she came in as she didn't want him to leave. It was a while of the moment thing, a while of passion, as both of them kissed. It has been building up for a long time now ever since. She told him that story about her. And the both of them had that moment. As the both of them shared a deep, passionate kiss. It was just filled with so much, well, love, if you would believe it, even though it was brand new. But Naruto couldn't stay, but she had to. But she told him in a few years, the Justice League is expanding now, so she can be there with him soon. As he left Earth in a few days, as the two of them spent the entire time together. As Kurama saw how happy Naruto was, but he told Naruto not to put all of his faith in just one thing yet. The relationship is still new, so he might as well just calm himself at first. As they went to another planet, as Naruto was pushing all the toxin out of his body. Wonder Woman in the college spent the entire day talking to her. After that, Orion called him, as he was surprised to see this man. Orion wanted Naruto to kill his true father, that was Darkseid, but Naruto had to go into rather specific details, as after he finished with his explanation, Orion understood, as he left the call. After that was over, Naruto was given a mission. By the Green Lantern Corps, he was surprised, when he could figure out their reason. After all, they would want to get close to the powerful alien after all. As he was supposed to check out the planet where two Green Lantern Corps members have been missing, and two others as well, who went to investigate. As Naruto arrived there, as he left Kurama on the ship that flew away from the planet because the ship was going to be attacked. The planet was deserted as Naruto made his way through it. He sent his clones out as the place was large to scour the entire place. After a few hours he sat down as he started to talk to Wonder Woman again. As the both of them were talking, she told him to watch out. As he moved away from an alien tentacle, then nearly grabbed him. As she was talking to him, another one dropped from the tree and landed right on his shoulder as he inject things into him, going over his head. As he collapsed, as Wonder Woman was on the communication device, as she screamed out his name for him to get up, but he did not move at all. As the thing start to go over him even more. So yeah guys, so that's basically that's where I left off. You guys can switch across to the place and check it out for yourself. So what do you say we begin this new episode? Naruto yawned as he stretched. As he couldn't move one of his arm though, as he turned to see why. A woman was sleeping on one of his arms. As he moved her black hair. When he did that, her eyes slowly opened as he saw her baby blue eyes. She smiled, she rolled on top of him as she kissed him. Morning, she said. As she lied down right on top of him. Right on top of his chest, right below his chin, her head rested. He brought his hands around her and hugged her. They have been together for more than a decade, but he never got tired of her, ever. If anything, their love deepened with every passing day. Naruto heard something. Little Thea woke up, he said. Watch, any moment now, she'll come burst into her room like a small hurricane. The woman in his arms chuckled softly. He too chuckled as the door was burst open, as the young girl, about 12, burst inside. Mom, Dad, wake up. Today is graduation, she said. She was a copy of her mother. She had long, black hair, fair skin, and blue eyes as well. You little monkey, it's still too early for you to be so rowdy, said Naruto, but the girl just grinned in reply as she flew and landed right on top of her parents. Delightful laughter came from her as the both of them started to fight a bit. She and her mother, playful fighting. He could only smile at his beautiful wife and beautiful daughter. Eventually though, she rolled to the side, glaring a bit at her mother as her mother had won. You'll see, I'll defeat you one day, Mom, and I'll take Daddy all for myself. Diana pinched her daughter's nose and giggled. You're still a few centuries too young for that. Now, go take a shower. I'll make breakfast for you. The young girl winced, hearing that. Hey, what's with that reaction? Said Diana. It's alright, said Naruto. I'll prepare breakfast today. Yay, the girl said as she fly off. No flying in the house, said Diana. But the girl was long gone, as she made a depressed face. Is my cooking really that bad? Naruto chuckled and kissed her on the forehead. We all have things that we're good at and things that we can't do. It's proof that we're still human. He stood up and swept her off her feet in a princess carry as he brought her arms around his neck. That morning, they need a longer time than when they showered together. Time skip, I'm finally a full-fledged kunoichi. I got a great team as well. I'm with Sadara Uchiha and Sabuku no Shinki. We're going to be the strongest team of Genin ever. Even stronger than you and your team, Thea said, with pure confidence. I'm sure you will, Naruto said as he ruffled her hair. She slapped away his hand. Dad, I told you not to touch my hair. A woman here's her life. A young boy wearing war paint on his face sneered from the side, as shinobi will never go that far when they care that much about their appearance. Look at Sadara, she's a true kunoichi. She doesn't even care about her looks. He had to quickly run off as the two kunoichis ran after him to beat him. They're as full as NJ, as always, aren't they? A red-haired man said. It was Gaara. He had been the Kazekage for almost 10 years before he finally decided to retire. Upon passing the mantle to his successor, he moved to Konoha to be closer to Naruto and his sister, Temari, who had married away and moved to Konoha many years before. Only Kankuro remained behind, acting as a Kazekage right-hand man. Are you free today? Diana asked. We decided to have a little party with Sakura and Sasuke. You're more than welcome to join us. Definitely, said Gaara. It was supposed to be a small party, but somehow my mother found out about it. So, with the three Genins and their parents, there's gonna be more. Mom, Dad, the third, Bachan, Erosenin too. My mother-in-law will certainly not miss on the opportunity either. Also, Kram will be there, of course, and Naruto. But Gaara only smiled. Naruto was his first friend, the person who saved him from the darkness. Not just that, he came after him to save his life when he got captured by the Akatsuki. Gaara cared about him a lot, just like he cared about his two siblings, his adopted son, Shinki, as well. Time skip. It was already late in the evening as the party was going on. Jiraiya Sensei still haven't given up on wooing Tsunade-sama, even after all these years. At his side, Hiruzen chuckled, as he was around 90 years old now. Youth, come from the heart, Jiraiya will always be a young man in that regard. I have to say though, Minato, I'm quite surprised by your son. I never thought he would turn down the position of Hokage. Minato shrugged. I know, right? As he grew up, he drove everyone crazy about I'm going to be Hokage one day lines. Naruto came from behind him and placed an arm on both of their shoulders. You two old man would be gossiping about me like a pair of two old women, now would you? Said Naruto, as the three of them laughed, as Naruto poured himself some steak as well. After I grew up, he said, I realized being a Hokage is far less exciting than I thought it was. You spend 99% of your time buried under paperwork. I chose to focus on my family more, rather than a boring career, he said. See, your son is smarter than you, Minato. A red-haired woman in her 50s said, half seriously, half jokingly, from his side. Despite her age, her hair is still red, long and crimson, and a few marks on her face. She still looked rather young. It was none other than Kushina Uzumaki. You're absolutely right, Kushina, said Minato weakly, as both of them, all of them laughed out loud that was there. The leadership of the village is in good hands. Kakashi Sensei is a dependable man. He's a much better fit than a Hokage than I am. Besides, there are no more wars amongst the 5 great nations. Ever since we sealed away Kaguya, we've been living an era of peace. His heart was filled with content and happiness whenever you look at his wife and daughter. Furthermore, he has everyone else, his parents, his grandfather figure. Everyone was there. Diana was happy as well, no longer stressed or tormented by her responsibilities. This is paradise, he said as he watched everyone around him having a good time. Sasuke and Gaara were playing a game of shogi, as Jiraiya was trying to flirt with Tsunade. As Sakura, Diana's mother, and Diana were chatting together, as the three Genins were fighting against a bear-sized 9-tailed fox. As Naruto was drinking, the cup fell from his hand. As he was having a strong migraine, his head started paining him. Naruto-chan, are you okay? Kushina asked. Naruto did not reply. In his mind, a rush of memories invaded his thoughts. It was exactly what happened when he shadow clones his spell, and he received their memories. But he did not remember making a shadow clone that day, or so much shadow clone, that they would cause him migraine by dispelling it all at once. As Naruto saw a dying planet to a race of yellow-skinned humanoids, all dead, ruined cities, destroyed nature, the sky covered by a purple dark cloud. What was going on? Oh, I'm fine, he said. I'll go to the bathroom to get myself cleaned up. As some liquor spread over his clothing, as he went to the bathroom and splashed cold water over his face, as his head snapped in the mirror, he was startled for a moment. His hands touched his whisker-like marks. This isn't right. What's going on? The image he saw in the mirror was different from what he remembered. His blue eyes, his thin, whisker-like marks, and his blonde hair. No, they were thick. His eyes were red. I used to look like that before I unsealed Kurama. What is this? He said. He remembered after unsealing Kyuubi, the part of Kurama that was left inside of him fused to his body, made his eyes turn red, and his golden hair darkened to the point where it became a strawberry blonde, and the marks on his face became much thicker and darker. At that moment, he heard crying as he rushed outside to see the bright moon crack and shattered. No, this can't be happening, he said. A massive rip in space and time appeared above the courtyard. A pale light woman with horns on her head stepped out of the rift. She raised her hands, all killing ash bones. Time seemed to slow down, but despite his powers, Naruto was unable to react as he watched her bone spike shot from the rabbit goddess' arms, stabbing in everyone below. To this day, it was still the deadliest technique that Naruto has ever witnessed in his entire life. The moment the bone spikes touched someone, they crumbled into ash. They didn't even have time to scream, as Naruto watched his daughter turn to ash by the first wave of attack. Naruto exploded with pure power as 10 shoot-seeking arms came behind him. He brushed forward, ripping through the earth as he came towards Kaguya. Moving so fast, he was unable to stop as a wormhole opened up in front of him that sucked him away to a different location. As he was far out in the sand, he flashed back towards his position, but when he got there, everything was gone. All of them, his wife, his parents, Jiraiya, his friends, all of them had been turned to ash. As Naruto dropped to his knees, everything then snapped into his mind, the clone's memory. This was fake. This was an illusion. His parents died a long time ago. The third sacrificed his life. When fighting off against Orochimaru, Jiraiya died, facing off against Pain. And he left the elemental nations. He was thrown away through it by this same woman a long time ago. This was all an illusion. But watching everyone die once again, it messed him up bad. Really, really bad. Back in the real world, the plant-like tentacle was still attached to Naruto's head. That was when Naruto's arm flickered. The thing screamed as Naruto's fingers gripped into it, piercing into it. As Naruto tear it from his head and squeezed it till it exploded into pure green blood. As he was on his knees, his body shivering all over, his eyes were haunted. Rage, pure unbridled rage on his face. Everything was just an illusion, but what he felt, it was real. It felt so real. His love for Diana and his daughter Thea, his feelings for his parents, everyone there, and he had to watch them die all over again. It messed him up bad as he smashed his fist into the earth. His claws started to grow as they dig deep into the earth. His whisker marks got even thicker. As he calmed himself, as his body started to change, but he calmed himself down. As he collapsed on the ground, breathing heavily. Every living thing around him became mute. After that display, even the ears seemed to stand still around him, as he just stood there, not moving. Moments later, his clones had found the location. It was an enormous hall. He could barely make out the outer walls, and he could not even see the ceiling. There were no windows and there were no lights either. He couldn't even see his hand in front of his face, but he could hear the breathing of many people. Through his sage senses, he could tell that there were thousands of them. An orange red flame came to the palm of his hand. When his surroundings were revealed, he paled. Thousands of yellow-skinned humanoids were hanging from the ceiling, in translucent, fleshy cocoons. Tentacle plants, just like the one that got the drop on him, was wrapped around their torso, their neck, or face. It was a giant hive. It's just like back then, he thought. As he remembered how the god tree had captured everyone and put them to eternal slumber, just like the tentacle plants were doing to their victims. Each one of them were witnessing something like the infinite Tsukuyomi that Mother had cast back in his home world. As Naruto realized something was wrong with him, he was hyperventilating. Well, as his hands started to shake in pure anger, he heard people talking. As he calmed himself, whoever did this, I'm gonna rip them to shreds. As all that he saw was pure rage and anger. Meanwhile, how were the tests going? A massive humanoid being asked. He was bald, his skin was a dirty yellow color, and his eyes were red. as he had on a skin-tight purple costume that showed off his muscular physique. We have successfully modified the genetic data of the Black Mercy. A man similar in stature and appearance to him answered. As both of them looked like they were related, the difference came in the outfit that he was wearing, a blue and dark pink costume, with a bright yellow symbol on his chest. It was none other than the Yellow Lantern Corps symbol. Previously, Black Mercy would have offered a victim a painless death, giving them a perfect life they have always dreamed of. However, I changed it. My yellow power ring gave me new insights that I never thought about before. I make it so after tasting their sweetness of paradise, their greatest fear would come true. The emotional trauma would increase the speed where the Black Mercy feed on their psyche. Energy, eventually draining all the vitality from their entire body. The victims would die an agonizing death worse than any torture would ever give them. The two muscular people were none other than Mongol, and his son who carried the same name as him, Mongol, younger. A cruel smile appeared on Mongol's face. Good, he said, repeating himself. They took Warworld from me, that lonely slave, driven, Kryptonian, and the Justice League. I will pay them back for that humiliation, tenfold. How sweet it would be for me to see all of them on their knees, begging for me to kill them. He broke into laughter similarly. Mongol the younger laughed as well. What about your other project? Mongol asked. My sister is dealing with it. Our fleet is almost ready. We're missing some personnel though. We have killed too many in the last pandemic, but they're just rubble. We could always get more slate from another planet. Fear would keep them in line, his son said, as he raised his fist to look at the power ring on his finger. In an instant, Naruto appeared on the platform that they were on. Who are you? Mongol asked, confused and surprised by the unknown appearance. As Mongol the Young quickly brought a spear on him and his father, it was just in time as Naruto lashed out with his fist, hitting it. The construct of light was exploded like glass as the both of them were thrown back. It was you, Naruto screamed. The father and son duo rose to their feet, but Naruto grabbed them by the face and smashed them into the ground. Holding them by the face, he ran forward and smashed their heads into the thick outer walls as he jumped right through the giant hole that he created with their bodies. Leaping outside, a bolt came from Mongol Young's ring as it shot right near Naruto's chest, releasing them from his grip. Who the hell are you? Mongol Young asked. 5 bloody marks were left on his face from how hard Naruto had digged into his skin. As Naruto looked at the mark on his chest, the thing had destroyed his combat suit. A wicked grin came on his face. He launched himself again as Junior brought up another shield, but Naruto broke right through to a punch. But Mongol threw a punch at Naruto, explosive punch, striking him in the face. The punch threw Naruto back like a cannonball as he bricked through trees upon trees as he crashed. Guards, what the hell are you doing? Mongol said, as dozens tall, yellow-skinned humanoids came with blasters. As Naruto stood up from the crater, as he laughed, it was an insane laughter, as he rushed towards Mongol and Junior once again. As Junior created a massive cannon, the thing exploded out and smashed right into Naruto. But Naruto only laughed, a mad wicked look in his eyes. Laser beam were also shot by the henchmen, and some of them came in, slashing Naruto with their blades. He ignored them all as he launched himself at Mongol and Junior once again. Bloodlust was leaking from him in waves. What the hell's your problem? What do you want? Mongol asked as he started to feel afraid. Despite having a yellow lantern, being his son at his side, and an army, he felt like he was going to die. He didn't know why, but he felt it. As Naruto disappeared, greatly alarming all of them, Mongol then felt his breath leave his lungs and his feet leaving the ground, as Junior could only watch as a lariat smash into his father's throat and send him sailing. A huge sword came from his Green Lantern ring as he slashed into Naruto's back. As blood sprayed, he then raised it once again to take off Naruto's head, but Naruto flashed in front of his face and grabbed him by the throat. As he lifted him off his feet and drive him down, entire air around him shook as his body was pulverized into the ground violently. As Naruto raised his hand as a dagger appeared, he drive it straight down into Junior's hand. Junior cried out in pain as Naruto screamed with laughter as something was piercing through him, the plasma sword of one of the aliens. As it pierced right through Naruto's back and it was piercing through his chest, but he only laughed, like the pain was not even affecting him, or more like he took pleasure in it. As Naruto backhanded the henchman, his head was blown clean off by the force. The rest of the henchmen started to run, but spikes erupted from the ground and pierced through them, ripping them apart. Dozens of them were slaughtered in a second. All of the wounds that Naruto received started to heal in a second, like they weren't even there. If it was not for his torn suit, you wouldn't believe that he was wounded once before. As the deranged smile just went away from his face, the insanity look slowly receded back. But his rage was not over yet, as his hand got wrapped in a transparent form of wind as he sliced off Junior's arm, tearing it off with the power ring. A scream of despair came from the Yellow Lantern. He punched and kicked, but Naruto stood there, not even moving once. He was not even causing a bruise. Naruto's body was like steel now, as Naruto's vice-like grip on his neck was also unshakable, as he pulled the body with him towards his father. The father tried to stand to his feet, but he could not muster any strength. To his horror, he realized he couldn't feel his body from the neck below. His heart started to beat fast as he heard footsteps coming towards him, as he could see his life, time going down and down. "Why are you doing this? How have I wronged you? I never even seen you in my life." Mongol screamed when he saw Naruto came to his sight, dragging his son by his neck. As Naruto threw Junior to the ground, he tried to get up, but a blade of lightning ripped through his thigh, putting him back down. "Tell me, why are you doing this? Why are you killing us?" Junior said in desperation. Normally, it was he who brought this spear upon the others. He was chosen as a Yellow Lantern Corps for a reason, as he obtained the ring by killing his previous owner. But now he was the one tasting what fear in this spell felt like. "You gave me everything," said Naruto, "and then you took it away. My parents, my mentor, my wife, my daughter, my family. I watched them all die in front of my eyes," he said to the father. "I'm going to do the same for you." Two shadow clones appeared. They went and paralyzed Mongol. They grabbed him by the head and peered his eyes wide open, so he could not close them. "It's insurance to make sure you watch every single moment of how I'm going to torture your son to death." Time skip. It was carnage. All the yellow-skinned aliens, pierced on spikes, their heads torn apart, their bodies blown to pieces. Mongol and Mongol Jr. was unrecognizable, their eyes ripped from their sockets, their flesh burned completely. Even then, the massacre was not over. Several hundreds corpses litter Mongol base. Every single one of his henchmen were killed brutally. The only people that were left alive were the ones being held by the Black Mercy. As Naruto lay on a boulder, until the illusion of Black Mercy, he never actually saw his loved ones die. He had not seen his mother and father die. He did not see the third death. And he did not see Jiraiya's death at the hands of Pain either. The first time when he thought he saw someone die was when he saw Hinata got stabbed. And he went berserk and the Kyuubi took over him. But she was alive though. The second time, it was when he saw Neji sacrifice himself to protect him in the war. But Naruto wasn't really close to Neji or Hinata. They were just friends, yes, they were in his large friend group. But they were still there. Erasenid, Bachan, Jiji. Only now when his rage was dying down, the grief had surfaced, as tears started to flow down his face as he said their names. He knew that it was only an illusion, but while only a few hours passed outside, 10 years, more than 10 years was given to him. Yes, it was like a lifetime to him. His feelings for everyone there had been real, as Naruto sat and cried alone for a very long time. Time skip. "Great Athena, you're okay," said Diana. That was the first thing she said when she got Naruto to call. "When that thing grabbed you, I thought the worst." She stopped herself as she realized that he was really silent. Furthermore, he was wearing his white fox mask as well, something he never did while talking to her. "It's good to see you, Diana," he said. He could feel that she wanted to ask what was wrong with him, but he didn't want to break down. So he quickly changed the subject. "Where are you? Can you reach out to Green Lantern?" She noticed his actions, even though she was dying to know what was going on and if he was alright. And she decided to do what he asked. "Green Lantern's with me. Flash, Supergirl, and Starfire is with me as well. We are in the middle of a space warp. We should arrive in the constellation in a matter of minutes." Anticipating his question, she spoke. "When you were attacked and fell unconscious, I feared the worst." Flash then appeared in the frame. She was so worried she ran straight to John and asked him how to get there. We don't even know where that was at first. The signal system. Flash was pushed out of the frames as Supergirl and Starfire came in. "We had to ask Batman to hack this thing and had Dr. Fate trace your location. You caused us so much trouble, honestly." Supergirl said with a smile on her face that she was happy, see that he was okay. "That tentacle thing did not do anything weird to you, right?" asked Starfire. "Starfire," said Diana, as the camera shook as they fought for who to hold it. Eventually, Diana took it and handed it to Green Lantern. Seeing the man Naruto spoke, "Tell the Guardians the mission will complete, though there were some complications. They should send a few dozen Green Lanterns at least, and someone well versed in medicine and mind arts. There are several thousand people with the Black Mercy plans on them. A huge hype." "Black Mercy?" said John. "Yes, Black Mercy, that were edited to give nightmares instead of a good time to the host. I did not want to risk taking the plans of the people myself. I'm not a medic, I'm not experienced in matters like these. I don't know what will happen if I were to suddenly take them off. as he turned the camera. My God, said John, as a clone was there illuminating the place with a fire jutsu. He was not the only one as the others. Eyes went wide as they peeked over his shoulder. The ones that did this are dead. We'll talk more about it when you get here. Let me speak to Diana. She took the device and went to a different room. I made you worry. I'm sorry, he said. No, she said. More importantly, I'm relieved to see that you're alright. Taking a look at his still covered face, she asked, Are you okay? Luckily, the mask covered the look that was on his face at the moment. After a long pause, he spoke. I'm better now that I see you. I'm glad that you're alive, he thought to himself. Time skip. As Naruto went through hand sign, as he breathed out a massive flame that merged and twisted and turned into a fire dragon. A clone beside him created a dragon from wind. The two dragons coiled around each other as they roared. The fire dragon devoured the winged dragon as it grew 3 times the size, over 200 feet serpentine long. Under Naruto control, the fire dragon launched towards the jungle. The trees, the rocks, the corpses, everything belonging to Mongo's army was incinerated. On Naruto's shoulder, Cram was there as he was looking at Naruto and looking at the fire dragon. As Naruto told him to come down. How did that plant even sneak up on you? Your sage sense should have detected any living being for miles upon miles around you. I was careless, said Naruto. As the Kyuubi sighed, what kind of a shinobi or bounty hunter lets a damn plant sneak up on him? Let me guess, it's because of Diana, isn't it? You were talking to her and you stopped paying attention to your surroundings. Honestly, you're like a little kid. As Naruto was silent. On one hand, he wanted to berate Naruto for messing up like that, but he could see how disturbed he was, even with the mask on his face. He could tell that he was in pain. After a short while, Naruto extinguished the dragon, as everything around the base had turned to ash. There was no trace of corpse or blood or the previous battle at all. Due to the heat, the cloudy sky had become rainy, as rain started to pour down. As Naruto took Cram from his shoulders and pulled him into his arm. As Cram could feel the emotions in Naruto's heart at that moment. As the screen of chakra came around Cram and protected him from the rain. As Naruto did not create one for himself. Even on this dying planet, the rain was polluted, as the blood was being washed off his body. Time skip. After passing through the clouds, the members of the Justice League were able to see the world below. They were above a strange looking jungle, one that was in the process of withering. Following the coordinates given to them by Naruto, they arrived at a large military base in that jungle. The white ring of ash surrounding the base made it look eye-catching from above. The javelin landed not too far away from where Naruto was, with Cram in his arms. What happened here? Said John as he looked around. Oh man, it's raining cats and dogs out there. I think you can handle the situation by yourself, right? You don't need me to come out too, do you? Flash said in a hopeful voice, but he was pushed from behind by a force he did not expect. As he fell right on his face, loud giggles came from behind. Kara, that wasn't nice at all. Starfire said, even though she was giggling a bit. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to push you that hard, she said. As, despite that, she had a small smile on her face as they fly over the mud. As Flash stood up, mud all over his suit. The only saving grace was that he was wearing a transparent, breathing mask so his face did not get dirt as well. Apart from Green Lantern, the rest of them were wearing breathing masks from a toxic environment. As Flash then spin both of his arms into whirlwinds as the mud splashed on the two girls. Flash, you'll pay for this, they yell. In the next moment, a mud fight happened between the three of them. Will you three stop acting like brats? Flash, you're supposed to be older and more mature than that, said Green Lantern. They're the one that started it, he said, as he decided not to press anymore. And you two, we did not come here on a vacation. We have a mission to accomplish, you don't get to joke around and play in the field. He shouted at the two teenage girls. Starfire made herself small and looked down. I'm sorry, she said. But Supergirl crossed her arms. Jeez, lighten up a little. It's not the end of the world. Wonder Woman came to a spaceship as she flew straight towards the boulder where Naruto and Kurama were sitting. She stopped in front of him with a worried look on her face when she took in his appearance. Usually he wore a black fur coat with a combat suit underneath, but now he was covered in mud and blood, a bit of it that the rain did not wash off, and he was bare-chested. He looked like he'd been through a war. I would hug you, said Naruto, but he was cut off as she hugged him. Your suit will get dirty, said, as she already wrapped her arms around him in a tight hug. Despite she wearing mostly white, she didn't care at the moment. It doesn't matter. I missed you, Naruto, she said. No longer hesitating, he brought his arms around her and hugged her as well, as the mask on his face dispersed in light. As she felt the way he was hugging her, like if he let go she would disappear. She rubbed the back of his head just like what her mother used to do when she was younger, as he melted into her embrace. I missed you too, Diana. In truth, about 1 month passed since he left the Earth, but for the two of them it felt like much longer. On the side, Starfire and Supergirl was about to approach him, but Green Lantern raised a hand and shook his head no. Don't butt in, let them have their moment. He looks like he needs it. After a long time they broke the hug. as she raised her hand and pinched his scarred cheek. He placed his hand on top of hers as he smiled at her. Kurama then growled, as he did not like being ignored. The both of them looked towards him, as Diana picked him up. "It's good to see you too, Kurama," she said with a giggle. He snorted, but she started to scratch his back, as he couldn't hold on for much longer. He began putting in her hands, as the other 4 members came over. "Good to see you alright, man, but they sure did a number on you, damn," flashed as he looked at Naruto's ruined clothes and the blood on his body. This is my blood, mostly. But what the hell happened to you all?" As he saw Flash, Starfire and Supergirl covered in mud. "It's his fault," the 2 girls said. "It's their fault," said Flash. As Naruto chuckled, "How have you been, Coriander? Has the Earth been treating you well?" She flew at him as she grabbed him into a bear hug. As Naruto patted her head awkwardly, as Wonder Woman simply smiled at him. "I am happy to see that you're fine. When I heard that a tentacle monster attacked you, I thought..." Naruto flicked her on the forehead. "Get your head out of the gutter," he said. As he turned to Supergirl, "You're the one that taught her weird things, didn't you?" "Huh, I don't know what you're talking about." As she came forward, "Don't take it a hug as well." "No hug for nasty pervert," said Naruto. "Hey, I resent that. The other Green Lanterns should arrive in about 20 minutes. Tell me what happened in the meantime," asked John. After Naruto told him what happened, a complex look came on his face. "We come in contact with Mongol before. He used to rule War World. He captured strong beings from all over the galaxy, and he forced them to fight in an arena to the death. Superman was captured and forced to fight like that as well. We were the ones that dethroned him. I thought these former subordinates would execute or imprison him. I didn't think that you'd be plotting something like this in the dark. That is what happened when you don't pull the weeds from the roots," said Naruto. "No matter how many times you cut them, as long as you're still alive, they will grow back. And you will just start the old thing all over again. Oh well, you guys do you. I'm not gonna lecture you on how to run your thing. By the way, I extracted some information from them before they died." "You mean to say you tortured them for information?" Green Lantern said. "Mama, don't stress the small stuff," said Naruto. "Apparently, they've been trying to transform this planet into a new war world, but they messed up when they messed around the planet's core." "What about the 4 Green Lanterns that died here?" asked John. "Mongol Sun murdered them. He was a Yellow Lantern, probably quite strong for your standards. You probably want to notify your superiors that Mongol also have a daughter. She has an entire fleet under her command. If what Mongol said before dying was true, she's gonna start an invasion very soon. As for where, I have no idea. That is for you to find out and deal with it." As they made their way inside and saw the cocoons, all of them. Time skip. "Whoa, that dude look like a meatball," said Kram as he looked at the members of Green Lantern Corps. "Huh, that one look like a squirrel as well," said Naruto. Over 20 Green Lantern members and the 4 members of Justice League were trying to free the people. Wonder Woman was using a sword to cut the cocoons open. Supergirl was using her heat, Flash, and Starfire was carrying them outside the military base. Naruto approached the Green Lantern that looked like he was in charge of everyone there. Tall, muscular, as he looked like a pig. Yes, his face, and his skin was pink. First time I've seen a pig man. Huh, universe is real large, he thought to himself. He did not judge him or laugh at him though. "You're not gonna take the mercy plans from around their necks," Naruto asked. "Freeing them from the plans are easy. You just have to pull them off and it's done. But who knows how long they have been subjected to the mercy of the Black Mercy. It wouldn't be surprised if they went insane after a snap back to reality. So we're gonna take them to OA. Mother Mercy would help them preserve their mental health." "Mother Mercy?" said Naruto suspiciously. The Green Lantern looked like he was debating in his mind whether to tell Naruto or not. Mother Mercy is the progenitor of these plants. She's a Green Lantern as well. As Naruto was a bit startled, even though he was wearing his white mask, the Green Lantern could tell. Mother Mercy is a empathy. A great telepathic too. She created the Black Mercy with pure intent in mind. She wanted to offer the ill people a moment of happiness before their death. It would give them a perfect life before their death. Let them experience happy. Then they would die painlessly with a smile on their face. Earthlings have a saying, "The road to hell is paved with good intentions," said Naruto. Well, it was only after creating them she realized the potential for harm that they possessed. But is that not the same with everything else in the universe? Powers, ability, tools, skills. It does not matter whether they're evil or not. It will be decided on what they're being used for, the Green Lantern said. "By the way, I'm Killua. Pleased to meet you. I heard many things about you before." As Naruto grabbed the hand and shook it, "Pleased to meet me? Didn't you all place a target on my back? I'm a universal threat after all, aren't I?" he said and laughed. As Killua shrugged his shoulders. "That is the Guardians, personally. I admire your work, especially what you did in the Vega system. I never agree with the Guardians' decision for banning us from there and letting the Plazians do as they please. And I'm not the only one, other Green Lanterns are opposed to it as well. But in the end, we're all loyal to the core. We do what the Guardians tell us to do. However, I give respect where respect is due. And you are a man worthy of respect, Caterpillar. And you helped us with this as well." "Well, I didn't see that coming, said Naruto. 1 hour later, a squad of Green Lantern took the people with him, as Naruto used his clone to speed up the process, as the rain had not stopped, covered from head to toe with mud. Starfire, Flash, and Supergirl was at the Javelin as he sat down. As for Green Lantern, he was inside the ship, starting the engines. How about that little vacation down there to ask Wonder Woman? Her face brightened when hearing his words. You mean it? But of course, didn't I say that we go on a small holiday after I'm done with this mission? There was a small streak of delight that came from her as she kissed him in her excitement. Did she just? Flash said in surprise. Starfire and Supergirl looked at each other amazed as well. They had never seen Wonder Woman act like that before. She was a serious, no-nonsense type of woman. She really joked as she never acted in an unladylike fashion. She acted like a warrior in battle and a princess outside of it. Flash was even more surprised, as he did not ever see her acting like that before. You're not coming back with us? He asked. Tell Martian Manhunter, I'll be taking a few days off. A week, Naruto said, cutting her off. A week, she said. She agreed as she kissed him on the cheek. We'll be back in about 1 week for sure, she said. We want to spend the Christmas together on Earth. As she looked towards Naruto. We will spend Christmas together, right? As he pinched her nose, enjoying her face scrunched up in annoyance. Just get a room, you two, said Supergirl, making everyone chuckle. The big bad fox is kidnapping Diana, said Naruto, as he picked her up, bridal style. She was not used to being treated like actual princess, but she liked it, as she wrapped her arms around his neck. Seeing her embarrassed but happy expression made him just smile. She was just so adorable. Completely ignoring the others, Naruto flashed away with her, as he appeared with a body flicker. I just want to hold you, kiss you, and never let you go, said Naruto. So what is stopping you, she asked, as he did what he was told and kissed her. When they parted from the kiss, they rested their forehead against each other's, as they continued to exchange small pecks of kiss between each other. I miss holding you like this, he said. It's been only 1 month, silly, she said, but she kissed him anyway. I missed you, he said. I missed you more, she whispered. But you said it's only been 1 month. She bit the tip of his nose in response, as she chuckled at him, but he then started to kiss her neck. Not fear, she said. That's cheating, she said, as it felt so good. Did I find a weak spot, said Naruto. I wonder what is this? She could barely talk, as he was nibbling on her neck. Behind a tree, Kurama watched. Those two are really idiots, he said. What if I was an enemy? It was like their love only increased over the past month, as Kurama simply walked away. As he smiled, he could feel the depth, the darkness inside her heart that he received a moment ago from that thing. It faded, as he curled up in a tree, ignoring the two idiots until they were ready to go. Time skip. Naruto? Yes, said Naruto. Perhaps you could borrow me some of your clothes tonight, she said. She was looking to the side, her eyes not meeting his, as he placed a hand on his heart. You're doing it on purpose, aren't you, he said. Trying to kill me with your cuteness, aren't you? It's not what you think, she said. I just came in a rush and I did not have a change of clothes. And I did not think that I would be staying over, that's all. Don't misunderstand, the more she spoke, the more flustered she became, as she was pink at the moment, her cheek. But to Naruto, it just made her look more cute, as his mind went over what she said, as he pictured her dressed in one of his shirts, and her panties, as his face also became red. I'll go prepare you the bath, as Wonder Woman stood there. She could not believe that his ship had all these things inside it. Yes, had a bathtub, a shower, and everything. It was like a small home. She clenched her fist. I cannot let him always get the better of me, she said, the blush on her face. As Naruto came back, I ran the water. You're good to go. Thank you, she said, as she stopped and gave him a kiss on the cheek, as he had a smile on his face. As she stopped, you can join me, you know, as she removed her cloak, as it fell to the ground. This is so embarrassing, she said, as she did not look back at him. It was one thing to exchange kisses and hugs with him, but to entice him like that and invite him to bathe with her. Walking towards the bathroom, she was going to give him a show, as she stripped one arm at a time. But suddenly a gale of wind came from behind, as she found herself pressed against the door of the room. A pair of arms wrapped her in her waist. You little minx. Do you know what you're doing to me, Naruto said, his voice filled with desire. Being in this position, she has never been dominated like that by a man before. I think I have an idea. After all, I feel something very hard. As she pushed herself back even more, as all the pent-up energy from before, it smashed into both of them like a wave. As his hands started to move all around, as her knees trembled. Here, I'm trying to hold myself back and let things run slow, but just void, he said. I won't be able to hold back for much longer if you keep on tempting me like that. What if I don't want you to go slow, she said. What if I want you to go hard? It took every ounce of willpower she had for her to say something like that, but She still said it, as he spun her around and started to kiss her. As it was a long, long session, as the two of them slid down against the door together. Before they broke the kiss, "I want you so bad, Diana," he said. "But not like this. Not like a bunch of animals in heat. Not in the hallway. Not while we're covered in blood and filth. I want our first time to be special. I want to treat you like the princess you are and worship every inch of your body like a goddess." As her heart melted at hearing those words, she was ready to go, but those words, it just made something flutter inside of her. Something different from the wild passion that she was feeling at the moment. Love. Full, unconditional love. As she buried her face into his neck. "Man, you really stink," she said. The both of them started to laugh, as that broke the sexual tension. In the end, they sleep separately. But it was just one bed in the ship. As Naruto could not fall asleep, as Wonder Woman was on top of him. Yes, sleeping. Damn it, I only can blame myself for not doing it earlier. Nevertheless, he didn't regret his decision. Although Naruto liked to play fight with Kurama and ignore him, he held Kurama's advice close to his heart. He's lived for much longer than me. Makes sense he knows more things than me. He did not think what he felt for Wonder Woman was just lust. Far from that, especially after spending 10 years with her in the Black Mercy. He loved her so much that it was scaring him. But he understood that she could not be as invested after just 1 month of relationship. Because of that, he listened to Kurama's advice to take things slower. "I want to date her, to get to know her better. Just chatting through a video call is not anywhere to get to know someone better." As he just didn't want to jump over those things straight to sex. He did not want the relationship to be just like that. He wanted to be with her forever. As he held her even tighter. She stirred slightly in her sleep, but she did not wake up. One of her legs intertwined in his, and she pressed her head deeper into his chest. As a smile came on his face, just like before. It was just like in his dream. Yes. As he ended up falling asleep. Time skip. No. Please, not her. Not Thea. As Wonder Woman was shook from her sleep, the first thought to her head was, who was Thea? As she heard him sleep talking again. Everyone is dead. No. No! He was not shouting, but his eyes were closed as well. He was having a dreadful nightmare. "Naruto, wake up," she said. "Wake up, darling," she said. As he woke up with a look in his eyes. But he calmed down when he saw her face. "Hey, did I wake you?" he said. She nodded. "I think you were having a bad dream." "And who's Thea, by the way?" she asked suspiciously. A smile crept onto his face. "Are you jealous?" "What a cutie pie. But you're my first and only girlfriend. You got nothing to be jealous of. I'll tell you about Thea some other time. Let's just sleep now, okay?" As he kissed the top of her head. As he leaned over. But she hugged him from behind, making him kneel at the spoon. As it did not take long for him to fall back asleep in her embrace. It felt so comfortable. Time skip. "Good morning, princess." Naruto's head filled with energy as he turned on the lights in the bedroom. As she turned her face though, and buried her face in the pillow. "Go away, let me sleep." But she didn't sniff. As she sat up quickly. "You cook pancakes?" Looking at her eager face and her hair was messy. Naruto burst into laughter. "Yep, I didn't know what you like to eat for breakfast, so I made you some pancakes with chocolate." As he put the tray in her lap and poured her a glass of milk too. At first, she started to eat, but she saw that he was staring at her. "Do you want some too?" she asked. "I ate my fill. I made these just for you." "Who was Thea, by the way?" she asked. The smile on his face disappeared. "We haven't known each other for long. What if she freaks out?" They've been together for a short while. It was a bit too early to talk about those things, kids and marriage. "I'll tell her," he said. "If we're going to spend the next few weeks together, I cannot guarantee that this subject won't pop up again. Might as well get it over from now." As he sat down in bed, as he leaned against the wall. "Remember that thing you saw wrapped around my neck during our video call? That was a Black Mercy. I got to experience it firsthand." She put down the pancake and looked at him intensely. There was a worried look on her face. In that dream, my parents, my mentor, everyone, they were alive. Before I got in this dream, I thought I got over the loss of my homeworld, my family, my friends. It was almost 100 years ago since then. You think that one's wounds would heal by then, right? But this illusion gave me more than I ever had. And then, it took everything away from me. Every single thing. Was Thea one of your friends from when you were younger? She asked. No, she was my daughter, he said. She was my little princess, the cutest thing in the world. She was just as beautiful as you, but she had my energetic personality. You mean to say that we were together? She asked. As she was looking down, her face red, as she looked at him before looking back in her lap. But of course, he said, the Black Mercy, show me my world of paradise. In my dream, we've been married for more than a decade. We named our daughter Thea because we came to an agreement. If the baby was a boy, I would get to choose his name. If it was a girl, you would choose her name. And you name her Athena. Thea was short for Athena. If yesterday she was the one that almost made him crazy by doing that stunt, today she was, well, being backlash. In his perfect world, we were married, she thought, as a smile came on her face. I take it you're not opposed to the idea in her to act. She did not look at his face, but she knew that he was smirking, just by hearing his voice. I want to dig a hole and hide myself in it, she said. He took her hands, as her neck and her face, everything was red. Don't feel pressured by my dreams. As I told you yesterday, I want to take things slow. I'm not a builder, but I know. You build a house one brick by a time. I may have spent years married to you in the Black Mercy, but the plant had no real knowledge about you. It was a version of you crafted by my own thoughts. It was not the real you. That is why I want to get us to know each other better. I don't want this just to be a fling. I want us to be together forever. Her expression was replaced by a serious, thinking one. Forever is a very long time, especially for people like us. We don't age. As Naruto kissed her hand, yes, forever, as long as you have me. I know I'm not the most handsome man around. My face is disfigured, but I will devote my life to protecting and making you happy. You are not disfigured, she says. She brought her hand up. I like you just the way you are, as she caressed the whisker marks on his cheeks. And I don't need you to protect me. I'm a warrior princess and a demigoddess. If anything, you're the one who almost died yesterday. I'll be the one to protect you, she said, as she pinched both of his cheeks, as she moved forward and kissed him. You want to take things slow, but what you just said, so close to proposing, she said. I haven't asked her hand in marriage yet, he said. She simply giggled harder at him. Just eat your pancakes, he said. Yes, she said, as she spread the chocolate in the pancake, as she brought it up towards his face. Say his annoyances melted away as he let her feed him. Time skip, as Wonder Woman looked at the map, as she was in the base of the ship. So, where would you like to go in her to ask? She had a rather lost look on her face that made Kurama and Naruto chuckle. Maybe the question you asked her was wrong. What would you like to do? Asked Kurama as he looked at Wonder Woman. We can go anywhere and do anything. We can visit ancient civilizations. We can go gambling. Or, we could have life-threatening trips through deadly environments. If you want a bit more spice. Naruto grabbed Kurama by one of his ear. Hey, are you trying to steal my data or something? Wonder Woman giggled. I'm not sure what I want to do. I mean, I usually fight crime. My work with Justice League take up all my time. The both of them stop and look at her. You don't have any hobbies? Kurama asked. For example, the idiot here liked fishing, eating ramen. He used to care for plants too when he was younger. He's great at gambling as well. She crossed her arms, unaware of how unusual her answer was. She was no different than a workaholic. She sounded like she was obsessed with her job. What did you do on your plant when you were training? Or praying to your gods? Asked Kurama. As Naruto flicked Kurama right in his forehead. Don't stress yourself, he says. He took her hand. We have 1 week to find out what you like to do. We will definitely find a hobby for you. And I know the perfect place for it. Half a day later, hundreds of spaceships were flying towards a hexagonal star as Wonder Woman was looking through the cockpit window. What is this place, Naruto? She asked. You said you don't know what you like to do, so I thought this would be the best place to find out. It's Genesis Stadium. A stadium? How can a stadium be so immense? What kind of events does it hold? She asked. It's holding matches for the most popular sports in this galaxy. But even if you don't like sports, there are many other things to do. This is basically a space city with millions of people living in it. There are parks, restaurants, shopping malls, hotels, clubs, casinos, cinema. There's even a small forest. She smiled. You put a lot of thought into it. But of course, he said, scratching the back of his head. This is going to be our first date. I'm going to take you everywhere, and we're going to try out everything until you find something you like. Believe it. As Kurama smiled when he heard that verbal tick, it only popped up when Naruto was happy about something, extremely happy. As Naruto steered the ship and landed it. As something was extended towards the ship, to allow the three of them to enter Genesis Stadium without needing any spacesuits. A thin, tall-looking robot checked them over, and they were allowed entrance into the city. But the moment they got in there, they were blinded by flashes. Oi, give me a break, said Naruto, as a large group of reporters were taking their picture and sending questions from left to right. If it was not for 10 robots in front of them, they would have been trampled and mobbed by the reporters. What's the meaning of this, old man? Said Naruto. Someone came to him and shook his hand. You told me that you were going to visit on such a short notice. I didn't have time to prepare anything special. This is more than enough. I only gave you a heads up so these guys from the Fluxus system won't get your panties in a bunch like last time, said Naruto. You didn't need to get an army of reporters to see us. The man was a rather large-looking human being with a big stomach. He was bald and he has a sharp beard and a device over one of his eyes, as he had elegant black clothes with golden pins on his chest. It's good to see you again, Mr. Uzumaki. Come, let's talk over breakfast. Moments later, wow, you're a hero in this galaxy, Diana said, after their breakfast to the old man. You never told me that. I'm not a hero, a mercenary. I got paid handsomely for my services, he said. A simple mercenary wouldn't be treated like an honored guest by one of the most richest and powerful men in the galaxy, said Grandma. As Naruto sighed, the old man that invited them for breakfast was Duke Maddox, the leader of Technoid, the most powerful economic, military organization in the Zillion Galaxy. Oh come on, stop being so grumpy, said Diana, and she took his arm. So tell me, how did you get so famous here? What did you do? Well, one of the generals betrayed Technoid and started to start another galactic war 4 years ago. I was hired to take out that man before things went to hell completely. I saved Technoid image and the prestige. She looked at him. That sounded a little bit too underwhelming. For all of this, he forgot to say that he also reversed the Ice Age on a planet that Technoid had almost destroyed several years ago before, and he did it for free, not a charge, said the Kyuubi. It's not as awesome as he made out to be, said Naruto. Technoid scientists have been trying to harness a new form of energy. An accident happened, and it triggered Ice Age. I only had to regulate the cycle of the natural energy of the planet. It took me a good few months, but it wasn't all that difficult. I just happened to be a master of manipulating natural energy. Seeing that I'm a sage, he said. That is all. As Diana giggled a bit. Aw, our cute little mercenary is embarrassed. As she kissed him on cheek. You shouldn't be. There's nothing to be ashamed of. If anything, you should be proud. Now come, she said. You promised me that you'll show me all kinds of interesting things. As Naruto's smile, her happiness of seeing new things made her look like a teenage girl that was being brought into a new society. Time skip. My goddess. You look like you want to eat me, Diana said. Are you okay? Yeah, said Naruto. I'm fine. Absolutely fine. She went back into the changing room to try another outfit. As Kyuubi opened up his eyes. Huh. You look like a pervert, he said. Can you blame me? She's already gorgeous, but when she came out wearing that, it's almost like my heart stopped for a moment. Whatever, Kurama said, as he closed his eyes back, as he could not exactly understand Naruto's fascination with Diana's appearance. Unbeknownst to them, she could hear them as well. She didn't have the level of Kryptonian super hearing, but she could hear them, seeing that they were in the other room. As she looked at her reflection in the mirror, with her cheeks red, as she coughed her breast with her hands. Then her hands trailed down her waist. A confident smile came on her face, with a mysterious look in her eyes. If that is a reaction when I'm wearing ordinary bra and panties, I wonder, what would it be when I'm wearing something more risky? As she giggled, I can't wait to see his face, as she scrolled through various clothing items. After confirming it, clothes were delivered to her as the console opened up. It was almost like ordering from a vending machine on Earth. As Naruto could hear heels clanking on the floor as he lifted up his head. His eye started to twitch a bit. His body started to like the shade the outfit that she was wearing was so provocative. A black bra that pushed her chest out, making it look 10 times bigger, and a lace underwear, and thigh-high stockings. As blood started to come from his nose, he was turning into Jiraiya. As he quickly brought out his device as he started to snap pictures. Earth, a digital porn of you is honestly amazing, but this is a real thing, he said. But his voice sounded so funny because he was pinching his nose. As she turned around, as she went down to pick up something, posing on purpose, as she felt the arm wrapped around her waist. How much do you think I can take, he said. You're doing it on purpose. As a shiver went down her spine, hearing the hungry tone in his voice. But she wasn't going to back down. What makes you think that isn't exactly what I want? You know, you're making this really hard, said Naruto. It was almost like a competition between them, as she turned a smug look on her face. Yes, she won once again. Mark my words, princess. I will get you back 10 times for this. And I never go back on my words. Oh, I'm counting on you, she said, as she winked at him. Time skip. People started gathering in front of the bowling alley, as Naruto and Wonder Woman was there, as they threw the bowling ball over 40 times, every time they had a strike, knocking over the 10 pins. As people started to film them with their devices, seeing that the both of them were mastered at wielding weapons and throwing devices, a bowling ball was no different than a dagger. Even after half an hour of intense competition, they could not determine a winner. Towards the evening, they were sitting outside of a shop. As they were drinking soda, eating cake. As Naruto was having a fruit cake. He didn't really like things that were too sweet, but Diana, she had a sweet tooth. She was eating a chocolate cake with caramel topping. As she looked over, as the place was filled with all kind of people, different aliens. The city was just wonderful and beautiful, everyone coming together and there was no violence. It's beautiful, she said. Apparently we're in luck, said Naruto. Every 4 years this city holds the 16 matches, the final phase of the Galactic Football Tournament. It's the most popular sport in this galaxy. Basically, everyone's obsessed with it. And the old man invited us to the match this evening. He booked ticket for us in the VIP booth. Actually, he said, look at the watch. We should get going soon. The stadium is enormous, it can hold tens of thousands of people. It might take a while for us to get in. Time skip, wow. It was the only thing that Diana could ever say after she entered the stadium. It was the largest building she has ever been into. The interior was shaped like a bowl, and it was thousands of feet in height. It was humongous. Mr. Uzumaki, Miss Uzumaki, I'm glad you could make it. The old man greeted them, making the both of them smile. They told him that they were together, but they did not give him too much detail of their relationship, as he assumed that they were married. As the both of them looked at each other, as Diana stole a kiss, the old duke chuckled a bit. Ah, young love, he said. I am old enough for you to call me grandpa, grandmother. Diana and Naruto thought at the same time as they looked at the old man. Love is nice, but galactic football is even better. Behold, he said as the first team was brought out. They were deathly white, pale humanoids being wearing black costumes. At the center there was a human man. The other team, they had humanoid lizards wearing white and blue costumes. I don't watch sports. I never had time for that, but look at soccer on Earth, with just less players than Wonder Woman. Most of the rules are similar, but you will see what is different soon, said Naruto. As she turned to look at him, soccer with Mr. Human, she said. After it started, the things that they were doing were way beyond our regular human capabilities as they were jumping over building tops. Well, when you could measure a building top on Earth with their height, moving at speeds that were hard to follow. They were kicking the ball so hard that it looked like it was shot from a cannon. In the end, Duke, favorite team, the Shadows, lost the game 3-5 as he was really upset. Later that night, dressed in a black shorts and a white t-shirt, Diana was standing on the balcony at the hotel as she was drinking hot chocolate that Naruto just gave to her. So we tried quite a few things a day. Did you find something you like, he asked, as she started to think about everything. Well, I love shopping, she said, especially her reaction as he poked her in the side with his finger as she squealed, making her to giggle. What a cute reaction you have, he said, as she did the same, but he blocked it. The both of them started battle with their hands, moving so fast it was moving like blurs to poke each other back. Eventually they ended up in a deadlock, both of them holding on to each other's hands, as they realized how silly they were acting, as they burst out laughing. Well, she said, the food at the restaurant was rather strange. I never seen those dishes before, but the bake shop was great. You can never go wrong with cake, huh, he said. Indeed, chocolate cake is a secret for happiness, she said. And I also like playing bowling, it was very fun. But next time we play, we have to give ourselves some handicaps, because we're too good at it, like blindfolding ourselves or something. Does Earth have bowling too, he asked. Of course it does. You think we're living in Stone Age or what? She said that pout, but he kissed her on the cheek as her pout vanished. Watching the football game was a new experience, and I love a walk in the park. I love sitting and chatting with you, as we watch the city in the night as well. I think I just love doing everything together with you, she said. As Naruto came to her, he wrapped his arms around her waist and kissed her. As she melted into his embrace, it was a new experience for her. She had never been spoiled by someone like that before. The way that he showed her with attention and affection, it just made her giddy with happiness. This really was the best day of my life, she said, as he hugged her tighter. As the both of them started to kiss even more, as they became drunk with passion, and kiss right on the balcony. But guys, if you enjoyed this episode right here, if you want the next part of this or not new, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn the bell notifications they posted. But I'm over for now, and also go ahead and check out the new series, guys, and enjoy. Peace.